Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Smart Study with Manasi. And now I am here with this lecture session which comprises of the conventional water treatment process. So friends, as we know, treatment removes contaminants or undesirable components or reduces their concentration so that the water becomes fit for the desired use. As we know that the treatment is crucial to the human health and allows human to benefit from both the drinkings and the irrigation use. To meet the demands of growing population, it's really essential that we harvest as much as water to conserve this precious resource. However, before supplying water for the human consumptions, it must go through the rigorous water treatment processes. Then it will be fit for the human beings as well as the animal and plants. And because of that, nowadays a typical water treatment process is comprised with the distinct steps before supply of water. But all of these steps are not operated at every treatment plants. Some importance should be followed at the different plants. So friends, let's move on to the conventional treatment process. On the screen you can see the flow diagram of the basic treatment plants. So first step is to collect the water from the lakes, rivers, reservoirs. Most often, the water is transported from the sources to the treatment plants by complex network of pumps and pipelines. So, treatment is necessary there. Fine, we are providing intake structure for the collection of water from the surface sources like river, reservoir, lake, as I told before, and conveying it further to the treatment plants. And basic purpose is to provide calm and still water conditions, so that comparatively pure water may be collected from the sources after the collection of water from the intakes. The first step in the treatment process is to screen that water to remove the larger items of the suspended material such as plants, trees, animals and other debris present in water as they are collected from the reservoirs, sea or the rivers as well. As the name suggests, these are captured and removed by the use of the large metal screens. Small particles are still not removed efficiently by the screening because they settle too slowly, but they could be easier to remove if they clump together to form a larger particles. But they do not bind because they have a negative charge and repel to each other. So in coagulation, we add certain chemicals such as alum which produces positive charges to neutralize that negative charge on the particles. Then the particles can stick together forming a larger particles which are removed easily by the sedimentation process. This coagulation process involves the additions of chemicals like aluminium sulfates, ferrous sulfates, ferric sulfates, ferric chlorides and all. Then a rapid mixing is done to dissolve these chemicals and distribute it evenly throughout the water, or we can take the mechanical flask mixture for this process. After that, water is ready for the next process, that is the sedimentation process. In sedimentation, the particles are allowing sometimes or allowing particles for the suspension in water to settle out the suspension under the effects of gravity. Okay, we are taking gravity effects in the sedimentation tank. The particles that are settled out from the suspensions become sediments, and in water treatments that is known as sludge. That sludge is removed in the sedimentation process. When a thick layer of sediments continues to settle, this is known as consolidations, as this is repeatedly settled down at the bottom layer of the tank. The velocity of the water is lower below the suspension velocity and the suspended particles settle out of the water due to this gravity process, or according to the gravity they are settled down at the downward part. The process is also known as settling or the clarification process. Settled solids are removed as the sludge and floating solids are removed as scum. Water leaves the sedimentation tanks over the effluent wire to take the next steps of the treatments. The efficiency of performance of the process is controlled by the detention time, temperature, tank design, conditions of equipment. Most treatment plants include the sedimentation in their treatment process. However, as the sedimentation may not be necessary in the low turbidity or water of the less than 10 parts per million, and after this sedimentation process, the water is transmitted to the filtration tank. In filtration process, which removes particles that are present in the suspension state, Removal takes place by a number of mechanisms that include straining, flocculations, sedimentations, and the surface capture, etc. These filters can be categorized by main capture methods. According to their capture capacity, they are divided as the slow sand filters or the rapid sand filters. Or we can provide channels. Channels are generally provided and it consists of a simple thin physical barrier made of the metal or the plastic. In water treatment, they tends to be used in the inlet or tube treatment system to exclude the large objects like leaves, fish, or the coarse materials present in water. This may be manually or mechanically scraped by the screen bars, or the screen bars are provided at different spacing. The spacing between the bars ranges from 1 to 10 centimeters. As the intake screens have smaller spacing created by the closely spaced plates or even fine metal fabrics, this is usually intended to remove fine silts, especially algae, microstrainous microorganisms. After filtration of water also contains microorganisms, pathogenic bacteria, or disinfectants. So disinfection process is required to kill them. The remaining water has now had the vast majority of its impurities, but it may also contains the bacteria, viruses, microorganisms. In order to kill them or kill these elements, it must be treated with the enough chlorine to be effective, but not too much, as too much of chlorine affect the taste and odor of water. Disinfection is the physical or chemical process in which the pathogenic microorganisms deactivated or killed by the chemical like the chlorine, chlorine chlorides, etc. are added to water, or the physically ultraviolet lights, electronic radiations, or the heat can be provided to treat this water. After this process, water is transferred to the storage tank. The water is now essentially ready for the public consumptions, but must be stored until the demands of its surfaces. But whenever the demand arises, we have to supply that water. It must commonly stored in the underground or the overground tanks, as well as the drinking waters are pure in nature. They must be stored before the supply or before supply in the emergency time. Okay. Now the water is ready to distribute to the public by a network of pipes or valves to fulfill the various demands of peoples. So friends, this is all about the water treatment process. If you like my video, like it and subscribe it. Thank you.